Welcome to the deep dive. So, today we are taking on a challenge that has, well, it's motivated millions. We're looking at a meticulously researched philosophy.
One developed over decades.
Right, to show how everyday people, how you can acquire profound wealth and, real success. We are diving into a system of principles, and they're all rooted in this core secret that Andrew Carnegie himself commissioned, what, a century ago?
It was a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is so much more than just, motivational reading. The source material is essentially a highly practical blueprint.
A blueprint, I like that.
Yeah, Carnegie tasked the researcher, Hill, with studying and packaging this magic formula. The whole idea was to make it available to anyone who lacked the time or the resources to figure out these fundamental principles on their own.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really get into the first critical steps of that formula. We're going to try and extract the exact mechanisms that claim to turn these intangible mental impulses, just thoughts, into tangible material riches.
And we should probably say right up front, the historical proof the sources cite is. It's pretty staggering.
It really is.
It just sets the stakes so high. This secret, which the author intentionally kind of scattered throughout the philosophy, it seems to act most powerfully when your mind is really ready to receive it. And you see its application in people accumulating these massive fortunes.
Like Charles M. Schwab.
Exactly. Schwab's application of this very principle was cited as the source of something like $600 million during the organization of the United States Steel Corporation?
$600 million. That's one of the highest documented payouts for a single idea in modern history. But it wasn't just for titans of industry, right? The sources also talk about ordinary people.
Oh, absolutely. They mentioned a clergyman who used these methods to increase his income to over $75,000 a year, which was a fortune back then, and others who just applied it to achieve, harmony in their family lives.
So it's a mechanism for achieving any definite purpose.
That's the key, any purpose. And it all starts with this core belief that thoughts are, they're powerful active forces.
Okay, let's unpack that, this idea that thoughts are things. We're starting with step one, the foundation of it all, the ardent desire. So what turns a casual hope, like I wish I had more money, into a force that can actually produce it?
It's the combination of that thought impulse with a definite, unwavering purpose and a persistent, ardent desire. That word is so important.
Ardent.
Yeah. Most people wish for money. The few who actually achieve it, they demand it. They turn that vague wish into a fiery, all-consuming obsession.
And to make this concept real for everyone, we have this incredible anecdote of Edwin C. Barnes. This is a man who started with absolutely nothing and literally thought himself into a business partnership with Thomas A. Edison.
Barnes' story is the perfect illustration of this. It's fantastic. When he set his mind on it, he didn't just want a job at Edison's lab.
No, he wanted to be Edison's partner, which is it's an almost ridiculous jump in ambition for a man who didn't even have the train fare to get to New Jersey and had zero connection to the inventor.
Right. And those initial obstacles, that would stop 99% of us right there. Most people would say, okay, I'll start smaller. Maybe I can mail him a resume later.
But Barnes had total commitment. Edison himself noted that Barnes had this determination so fierce, it suggested he was willing to risk the entire future in a single play. That intensity, that's the key differentiator.
So he takes the lowest, most insignificant job they offer him.
Knowing that just being close, just proximity, was his first victory.
But then for months, he's stuck in that low-level position. There's zero progress toward his actual goal of partnership. And that's the period, isn't it? When reality gives you no positive feedback, that's when most people quit. So how did he sustain it? He just kept intensifying his desire internally. He never wavered. He never even considered a plan B. His conviction was, and I'm paraphrasing here, I came here to do business with Edison, and I will achieve it, even if it takes the rest of my life.
He eliminated the possibility of retreat.
That's the crucial point. He defined his purpose so clearly that there was no way out but through.
And then the opportunity, just like the book says, it shows up disguised as a setback for everyone else.
Right. Edison had this new invention, the dictating machine. But his sales team, the established guys, they didn't think it could be sold. They just saw defeat.
But Barnes saw his opening.
He saw his opening. He knew that the desire he had been cultivating for all those months had prepared him to succeed where others, lacking that defined purpose, would fail.
Yeah.
He got the contract, and he literally thought himself into that partnership, which eventually became a multi-million-dollar enterprise.
It's the burning the ships principle to a T. You commit so absolutely that failure isn't even an option. It's just delayed success.
It is. It's that defined purpose that eliminates retreat. I mean, look at Marshall Field after the Great Chicago Fire. All his competitors saw smoking ruins and just decided to relocate. They had a plan B.
They packed up and left.
But Field stood in the ashes and declared, "On this very spot, I will build the greatest store in the world." He resolved to win right there. That burning desire, that refusal to retreat, that's what separated him.
Okay, so once you have that burning, non-negotiable desire, the next challenge is making sure your own mind isn't fighting you. This takes us to the next steps: faith and autosuggestion, sort of internal programming mechanism.
Right. And faith is defined here as the state of mind that's the eternal elixir. It's what gives life, power, and action to the thought impulse. The sources actually call faith the chief chemist of the mind.
The chief chemist. That sounds a little abstract. Can we ground that? What is it actually mixing? Is it mixing the thought with like emotional conviction to make it powerful?
That's it, exactly. Faith is the catalyst. A raw thought is just potential, right? But when you apply faith, it connects that potential directly to your subconscious mind. And what's fascinating is that this faith isn't just. It isn't just hope. It can be induced. It can be created through step 3, autosuggestion.
So autosuggestion is the delivery system, the repeated instructions you feed to your subconscious. But what are the actual mechanics? Do I just sit and visualize, or is there a specific, repeatable ritual?
The source is extremely specific on this, and this is where a lot of people miss the mark. You need a definite method. First, you have to write down a clear statement of your purpose, the exact amount of money, specific position you want.
And second, you read that statement aloud, morning and night.
Yes.
Aloud.
Why is reading it aloud so critical?
Because the physical act of speaking and then hearing your own voice and seeing the written word, it works on multiple sensory levels to impress that command onto the subconscious. And crucially, as you read it, you have to see and feel yourself already in possession of it. It has to be conviction, not just wishing. So you're literally overriding decades of limiting beliefs by forcing your mind to accept this new reality as if it's already done.
Yes, and here's the danger. The subconscious mind is totally impartial. It will act on any thought impulse you feed it, positive or negative. The source warns that people who constantly believe they're doomed to bad luck, well, they're self-creating that reality.
Their negative belief, fueled by repetition, becomes their physical reality.
It gets translated by the exact same mechanism.
There's an incredible anecdote that illustrates this power of intentional programming, and it's from Hill's own life with his son.
It's a powerful story. The child was born with a severe physical challenge. No physical signs of ears. Doctors believed he would be deaf and mute for his entire life.
And the father, he just refused to accept that limitation.
He did. But his response wasn't denial. It was immediate, intentional programming. He resolved that his son would hear and speak, and he constantly used autosuggestion, telling the boy that his condition was a special advantage that would draw kindness and attention.
So he was instilling this acute desire to hear and be normal.
Yes. And that programming, supported by the father's unwavering faith, was just absorbed by the child's developing mind. And the outcome? It just demonstrates the power of that belief when it's allied with desire.
The son eventually found hearing against all medical odds.
And later in life, this same affliction became his greatest asset. He got a high-responsibility job selling hearing aids. He was inspired to help millions of deaf people by sharing his transformed world. The lesson is just undeniable. Nothing is impossible if belief, fueled by persistent autosuggestion, is allied with an ardent, burning desire.
So we've covered the internal programming. Now we shift to external organization and action. Step 4 is about knowledge, and it makes this really important distinction.
It cautions us against equating general education with wealth.
That's a huge one. General knowledge is what you get from a formal education. And the sources kind of dryly observe that most university professors, despite having all this general knowledge, have little money.
Right. Knowledge is only potential power. It has to be organized into definite plans of action, directed toward a purpose.
And that's where specialized knowledge comes in. The idea that you don't need to possess all the knowledge yourself.
Henry Ford is the classic example here. Minimal formal schooling, yet he was considered supremely educated. Why? Because he mastered the ability to organize and direct the specialized knowledge of other people.
He surrounded himself with men who could answer any question he had. His team of experts. This was his mind superior group. The key is knowing where to find knowledge and how to organize it, not having it all memorized.
And this leads us directly into the engine of all organized effort, the Mastermind Principle.
This principle, it's about the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for a definite purpose. Andrew Carnegie himself said his entire fortune was built on his mastermind group of nearly 50 men.
And the benefits are twofold. There's the economic, and then there's the psychic.
Okay, the economic one is pretty obvious. You get access to skills and knowledge you don't have. But the psychic advantage, that's the moment, right? The source of creative ideas.
That's it. The sources are very clear on this, they say. Never do two minds meet without, for that reason, creating an invisible, intangible force similar to a third mind.
That synergistic energy, the third mind, it sounds abstract, but it's so critical. It means the combined knowledge isn't just additive, it's exponential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like two batteries working together to amplify the energy. When minds are in perfect harmony, working toward a definite goal, their shared thoughts literally stimulate the creative parts of each person's brain. They access ideas they just couldn't have come up with alone.
And this is how truly unique money-making ideas are generated. Okay, so this brings us to step 6. Organized planning. How do you practically form this alliance and make sure that perfect synergy is maintained? The sources give 4 simple steps.
First, you ally yourself with the necessary people, the ones who have the skills you lack. Second, you have to be explicit about what you can offer them in return. Reciprocal advantages. This isn't charity. They have to benefit.
Makes sense.
Third, you meet frequently, at least twice a week until the plan is perfected. And the final step, which you touched on earlier, it's the most crucial one.
You must maintain perfect harmony.
Absolutely. The moment ego or conflict or any kind of disharmony enters the room, that synergistic third mind just collapses. And the group goes back to being just a collection of individuals.
And there's one last planning note. Failure is not permanent.
So important. If your first plan doesn't work, temporary defeat only means the plan was inadequate. You rebuild it, you adjust the team, and you press forward.
Yeah.
Just like Henry Ford and James J. Hill did time and time again. That persistence is essential.
So we've really traced the flow here from the intangible to the physical. It starts with that ardent desire, moves to the internal programming of faith through autosuggestion. Then you anchor it with specialized knowledge and amplify it all through this mind-superior concept of organized planning. The whole structure rests on internal conviction being translated into external action.
And this raises a really important question for you for anyone listening. The sources state that wealth begins as a thought, and the quantity is limited only by the person in whose mind that thought is put into motion. Faith is what removes those limitations.
So if the limitation is truly just self-imposed, as the text suggests, then the hardest part isn't even defining the purpose. It's fighting against all those years of internalized limiting beliefs. And that requires constant vigilance using autosuggestion.
Exactly. So our final challenge to you is this. If thoughts are truly things, and you are entirely in control of the thoughts you cultivate, how quickly will you begin to define your exact purpose? To write it down, and to cultivate the ardent desire you need to make those thoughts real.
What self-imposed limitations, starting today, will you use the mechanical power of faith and autosuggestion to remove so you can make life pay the price you demand?
Go forth and demand your price.